Graf forehand. That's the big key, and just time will tell. So we're about to start with the women's final. Graf to serve. It is somewhat overcast, breezy. Flags are standing just about straight out, so it'll be a little gusty on court, and it's a little bit chilly. Graf to serve. We say it every time, Fred, because it's basically true. We know it from fact, but both players have to be a little bit nervous. And as a player, you're always happy to win that first serve, and that's a nice way to go about it with an ace.
I was talking to Pavel Slozel, Steffi Graf's coach in the locker room, just 45 minutes ago. And I said, well, how long do you think this will take? It'll be a quick one because Steffi's match is up until the semi-finals, averaged about 44 minutes. He said, a Grand Slam championships, he said, I'll take it in 3 sets. Doesn't matter as long as it's a win.
Absolutely. And if you go out there, you talk to your player about how fast you can win, that's a really dangerous thing. Wide World of Sports, Zvereva to serve for the first time in this match. This would be a big game for Zvereva if she can hold on here, sort of get settled down. First Grand Slam final.
It's certainly a big step from being World Junior Champion, as this young lady was in 1987. The trophy was presented to her the other night, and the World Junior Boys Champion, Jason Stoltenberg from Australia, and then suddenly, a few days later, you're on centre court in a Grand Slam final against the #1 women's tennis player in the world.
Smart serve to go wide because Graf wants to step around and hit the forehand, so she was sliding toward the center. And here come the raincoats and the umbrellas, so it's starting to drizzle. Now, the umpire requests 16,500 people not to make any noise when it starts to rain on him. He's got a problem.
Merci. Avantage, Mademoiselle Graf.
Now break point for Graf. That's the kind of error that Zvereva cannot afford to make because she is the steady one. She tries to move you around, get you running, and then hopefully pull an error out of you. So just trying to float one back deep and get it high on the backhand side of Graf, and she again, constant pressure by the #1 player in the world with that forehand. She can move you from side to side here. She gets Zvereva over in the backhand corner and now just pulls that ball hard and deep. It's tough to handle. So now we're looking at the second serve of Graf.
Well, Nicole Provis in the semi-final. Nicole has a pretty good forehand, as we see Philippe Chatrier, the president of the International Tennis Federation, also of the French Tennis Federation. But Nicole Provis has a good forehand, what we might call a heavy forehand, but nothing quite as explosive as that of Steffi Graf.
40-0.
40 love.
Just long. Getting darker and darker overhead.
Zvereva played many drop shots in her semi-final against Nicole Provis. She hasn't had that opportunity so far, anyway.
Yeah, when you're on the defensive and being pushed around, it's tough to start making drop shots, isn't it? So game to Steffi Graf. She leads 3-love first set. They have postponed play. The players are packing up to get off the court. Steffi Graf leads 3-love. And this may not be a bad thing, Fred, for Zvereva, because obviously she was nervous. She appears to be outgunned by Graf, but this will give her a chance to settle down and think about it and probably come out and be a little more deliberate, a little more aggressive, not necessarily charging the net, but hitting out a little bit more.
Of course, she has the opportunity to go in and talk to her fellow players and coaches, and Olga Morozova, who was one of their fine players from the Soviet Union in the days of Margaret Court, is here, and she's experienced on this surface and can give her some advice, and certainly will help her, because to get out here the first time, you've got to be nervous. The second time, you know how many people are in the stands, you've had a look, you know what's going on, and you should be a little more relaxed.
Steffi Graf and Natalia Zvereva. Again, in case you've joined us late, we had a rain delay after Graf got out to a 3-love lead, and players had to go back in. They covered the courts, and we had a huge deluge. As you can see, the players coming down, about to come out on the court. They will have a 5-minute warm-up according to the rules. And again, here come the players. So this is really almost like starting over for them, except that Graf is ahead 3-love. And they will again get their 5-minute warm-up. And Betsy, you know, it just reminded me of something. It's been a long time since I walked out of that entry onto the center court. You come really from darkness to sunlight, and it takes you a few moments to adjust, doesn't it?
Well, I've made the walk, Tony, not because I was playing out there. Actually, it's the one center court I've never been on. I've practiced on it, but as you say, it's funny because you go down about 2.5 flights of stairs, and then you come out to what's now a beautiful day, blue skies, and sun's looking like it wants to come out in full strength. And but those girls have made that walk now a couple times.
So, do you think that Zvereva now, just sort of looking at her, is she maybe more relaxed than she was before?
Well, Tony, you know, I must say I saw her in the locker room before she came out, about an hour before she started this match, and she looked very calm and relaxed, although I'm sure inside there are a lot of butterflies happening. And, yeah, I think the break has to help her. As I said, it's probably going to take her a little bit just to get back into the groove of things again, but just having made that first entrance out there and gotten the 10 minutes, although it was 3 quick games for Graf, but just being able to start the match has to have gotten rid of some of the initial butterflies.
Now, the tennis balls they're using are not the balls that they played the first 3 games on. They are other tennis balls that would be somewhat similar. They will warm up with those balls. They will be taken out of play, and the 6 tennis balls they started with will be used once this match commences once again. Let me ask you another question, Betsy. What do you think Steffi Graf's chances are of winning the Grand Slam, for example, this year? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but she's already won in Australia. She is the heavy favorite here. And, of course, the true test could be coming up at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, faster surfaces where Martina Navratilova is a more effective player.
Well, you know, Tony, it's interesting. If it were reverse, meaning if the U.S. Open happened before Wimbledon, I'd say Steffi Graf could get three titles under her belt. But I feel grass is her least favorite surface. That's the surface where I believe she's more vulnerable because she is not as comfortable with the serve and volley, and you just have to play that way on grass, especially against Martina Navratilova, who's going to do that to Steffi. But I tell you, she has a great shot of winning the U.S. Open.
Well, and also on grass, I agree with, I think Steffi, it's her most difficult surface. She takes such a looping swing at the forehand and really is somewhat late in preparing the racket at times. And if you get some devious bounces, as you will get on a grass court, some different bounces, it's more difficult, I think, for that type of player to prepare. I think that's why Lendl has a difficult time on the grass.
I agree. I think another problem that a lot of players who are particularly good on a clay court, the reason they have problems on grass is because of the different grips on clay courts. You get away with Western grips, and it seems like Western grip players have a very difficult time on a faster surface. They have a difficult time with slice approaches and volleys. So, and that's something Steffi Graf is going to obviously get better over her years with the half volleys and the volleying. But it'll take a while for her to get used to that.
So again, you see the finalists re-warming up. A moment ago, they showed you a glimpse of the nice blue sky that we have now. So it looks as though we have a real good chance of finishing everything today now. The winds have died down somewhat. And so while the ladies are finishing their warm-up, we'll take a break and be back at Roland Garros in just a moment. World of Sports, ball boys and ball girls lined up behind the court. They want to see this final. They've done yeoman work throughout this 2-week event, and just like officials, if they go unnoticed, you know that they're doing an excellent job, and I would certainly take my hat off to all the ball boys, ball girls, and the officials. They've done a wonderful job. There have really been very few disputes. And again, while we have a moment from all of us, we'd like to express our thanks to Philippe Chatrier, the president of the French Federation, who is so nice to everyone here, players, officials, spectators. They've done a terrific job. So you can see that everyone's eager to have this match resume. And Betsy, can we expect some sort of patient play, somewhat careful play as they start back up, or do you think they'll come out just hitting it hard again?
Well, I think Steffi Graf's plan is to just crank it right back up again, and she has a huge forehand, which I'm sure she'll. I think she wants to just get this match under her belt as quickly as absolutely possible for her. And
We change balls.
you can see that they're changing the balls again back to the ones that they used initially in the first 3 games, the balls they warmed up with, and now they'll use the balls they started off with. Zvereva does not have a power game.
Reprise de la finale simple dame.
She's able to mix pace, mix spin, speed of the ball.
Mademoiselle Graf mène par 3-0 dans la première manche.
But she's not a power player.
Mademoiselle Zvereva.
So it's been exactly 1 hour since the rain came.
Steffi Graf's coach in the front row there, Pavel Slazl from Czechoslovakia, and Mr. Graf sitting just behind Pavel there.
Another break for Graf, who now leads 4-love.
Mademoiselle Graf, 4-0.
Zvereva at the moment is just being outgunned here. Only Zvereva's second year on the tour. She joined the tour last year, playing both the junior events as well as professional tour. That's the second ace from Steffi Graf.
40-0.
She's won 7 points in a row.
Thank you, Tony. Not too much has happened. Not too much has happened since the rain delay. I was over in the players' lounge area, and Steffi Graf wasn't getting too many points as far as the playing was concerned. She was playing cards, trying to keep relaxed. And the way things are going now, 5-love, love 30, this could possibly be the quickest women's final they've had here at Roland Garros ever. And I feel sorry for a young Natalia Zvereva, because she has beaten some good players to get here, but Steffi Graf is not going to give her any margin at all here in the final, and neither she should.
0-40.
Zvereva hasn't won a point in
S'il vous plaît.
3 games, in fact.
Well, he lost 15-40, and the crowd gives Zvereva a big cheer.
That is
Graf has not lost a point on serve in this match as yet. I know that. Well, unfortunately, straight back down the court to Steffi Graf, and she just put it back into the open.
First set, 6 games to love. Well, because of Graf's powerful forehand, she can totally exploit the weakness of Zvereva, which is running to the forehand side. If she has time, she hits her forehand very well, but if she doesn't have time, she really struggles.
Least games played in a women's singles final was when Susan Longlaw, the great Longlaw in 1926, beat Kay Brown 6-1, 6-love. Doesn't give us a time on that, though. That is the least games in the final. I think Zvereva will win a couple of games in this second set. I'd like to see that happen for her. Double fault there from Graf, unusual occurrence.
30-15.
This young lady, though, Betsy, I think is just so nervous out there now. Having been and just taken to the cleaner so easily in the first set, it's pretty difficult to get on track.
Exactly, Fred. I mean, it was 1 year ago today she was winning the junior title here at Roland Garros, and now here she finds herself in the finals of the main event, and that's got to be a little overwhelming for her.
And so Graf, welcome back once again to Nine's Wide World of Sports, our live coverage from Stade Roland Garros, French Open Tennis Championships, women's singles final. And this entire crowd, Betsy, is sparing a thought for the young lass from the Soviet Union, because I think at this stage she's embarrassed to be out there, and the crowd are trying to get her going, trying to help her as much as they can. Interesting, though, with Steffi Graf, her matches up until the semi-finals have averaged like about 44 minutes per match. As you see the split screen of forehands there with both players, and they asked her, does she ever let up on opponents? She said, no, I'm out there to win. Why should I? I can't feel sorry for them.
That is one of the trademarks of the way Steffi Graf plays tennis. She's just terribly businesslike and walks very quickly in between points. She just tries to beat opponents as badly as she can. Which is exactly what one should do. And the crowd loves it. That's the best point Zvereva's played.
Well, she's not giving up, Betsy. She's chasing everything, doing the best she can under the circumstances.
Good footwork from Steffi Graf. Just watch her feet. She's always moving. She goes forward into that volley. She didn't put that away, and she really could have.
Natalia was asked in the semi-finals, in a press conference after the semi-finals, if she thought she could beat Steffi Graf, and she thought for a moment, and she says, no, I don't think so. And the two-handed backhand is long, so Graf now leads 2 games to love, second set. She was also asked then, well, you beat Martina, and if you play like you did against Martina, do you think you have any chance? And she says, maybe, but I don't think so.
Weren't too many people that believed they could beat Steffi Graf, and she had a couple of losses, only had 2 losses the entire year before last, and both of those were to Martina. And this year so far, she's already lost twice to Sabatini. I think there are a couple of players that now believe they might be able to beat Steffi Graf.
Well, if she wins this title, Betsy, that will give her 2 legs on the Grand Slam this year. What chance do you give her of winning Wimbledon?
Well, we were talking about that earlier, and I think Wimbledon Graf is her least favorite.
40 love once more. Graf, in this match to date, has lost 1 point on serve. She did not lose she lost 1 point on serve in the first set and 1 in the second set. So that's 2 points on serve in this entire match.
Good point again from Zvereva. She gets away with this drop shot. It's rather high, but good get there. That's a good side of Zvereva, the backhand side. She can control that ball very well.
I think that's the only opportunity she's going to get to play the drop shot, Betsy, is off the return of serve, and that's a tough one. But if she wants to use that tactic, she's not going to get too many other chances out of it. Silly. Precision and power on that return of serve. It was a short serve, and it was dealt with very harshly by Graf.
The serve of Zvereva is very attackable, especially the second serve. She really doesn't get much on it at all.
Well, she's not going to give her anything, Betsy.
No, certainly not, and rightly so. I know that let's get another look at this last point where she wrong foots Zvereva, who's looking for the backhand. I know that Steffi Graf believed in the semifinal match against Gabriela Sabatini. She felt that was really the finals of this event. Both girls felt that. Martina and Chris both out.
$15-30.
Good backhand slice from Steffi Graf. I must say that Natalia Zvereva is a really pleasant girl, good personality, which is reflected upon her coach, Olga Morozova, who was the last Russian in the finals of the French Open in 1974.
Well, Graf's not giving an inch there, just putting the pressure on the youngster from the Soviet Union, and she now leads 4 games to love.
Look at the depth Steffi Graf gets on those ground strokes, and then the power of that forehand. Just catching Zvereva totally helpless.
30.
Well, Zvereva made a good approach there and tried to be a little more aggressive off the forehand, but didn't quite move well enough to cover the volley. But she's beaten some great players to get here, and it's a shame that she just hasn't been able to get a couple of games in this final.
30.
Because you can see with her attitude out there now, Betsy, she is just scared.
Exactly. Well, she's ranked 15 in the world, and you don't get to be 15 in the world on our WITA computer without having some tremendous results.
35.
And she is only 17 years old, and she seems like such a younger 17-year-old than this woman, Steffi Graf, who is just so composed and mature out there. Since she's a real adult.
And there it is, 40-15. Another stinging forehand from Graf.
You can see Zvereva's always 1 or 2 steps slow to the ball. Doesn't even make an effort for that one.
And there's the ace.
Far, it's been an absolute slaughter.
Well, it looks as though Steffi Graf is going to go into the record books here because the least number of games is 13 games, as I mentioned, 1926, 6-1, 6-love. And this young lady's played well enough to go into the record books as a 6-love, 6-love victory, but I just feel so sorry for the young lass from the Soviet Union, but she has just been overwhelmed today and is just not in the same class.
You got to give Graf credit, too, because she's continued to concentrate well, and she's trying to get this over with as quickly as possible.
Well, that's one thing that champions learn at a very early age, and is that you don't give anybody anything. You get on that court, you play your match, and you get into the showers as soon as possible. It'll be interesting to see if Steffi tries to wing a couple more here.
Now it's match point. 34 minutes. So in just 34 minutes of actual playing time, we take another look at match point. Steffi there being congratulated by her coach and then kissed by her father. Second time now Steffi Graf has won the French Open back-to-back. Her third Grand Slam title, having also won this year in Australia. So that's 2 legs on the Grand Slam. And of course we'll have a ceremony. Fred, what can you say? She was just, here's again the look at match point. And Steffi gets this lob up, and it was just high enough where Zvereva couldn't do much with it, and then appropriately beaten with her forehand. So there it is, 6-love, 6-love. Never happened before in the women's final. So she's in the record book.
What more could you say? They roll out the red carpet now for Steffi Graf and make the presentation, and the youngster has to feel very proud that she did reach the final, Natalia Zvereva, but the pressure and the stroke production was just too tough.
Betsy, anything to add?
Well, Tony, I think Zvereva is a much better tennis player than everybody in Australia just got to see. Unfortunately, I just think the occasion for her was just so overwhelming that she was just a nervous wreck, I believe, and just wasn't able to really gather herself together and play the kind of tennis that I've seen her play for a year. But she'll be back. She's only 17, and she's a terrific kid, and I wish her the best of luck.
Well, I think your comment earlier was very apropos also, that at 18 years of age, Steffi Graf seems much more mature than 17-year-old Zvereva, who really has been out playing out of the Soviet Union just for a couple of years. Steffi Graf has been in 5 Grand Slam finals now, has won 3 of them, and I'm sure she's going to win many, many more, Fred.
Almost definitely, and I think she's got a chance at Wimbledon this year on the grass. She's got through to the final there. Martina will be ready again. Chris will be ready. So will Sabatini and a few others. But Steffi Graf has a purpose, and she would like to win the Grand Slam, and she's done a great job here in this final.
So Steffi Graf, for the second time in 2 years, makes the nice walk up the red carpet. Will be presented the Suzanne Lenglen Trophy by Françoise Dour, who was a winner here. That is Nellie Adamson. Of course, Steffi. There's Françoise Dour on the right, handing her the trophy. And a very worthy champion indeed is Steffi Graf. A workmanlike job.
C'est maintenant le tour de Natalia Zvereva.
And now photographers will make room. Natalia Zvereva will work her way through.
De coupe s'effectue en présence
I'm sure she's
de Margaret Court, 5 fois gagnante du tournoi ici même.
She should be proud of having gotten to the finals, being congratulated by Philippe Chatrier, and she will receive her trophy.
Plusieurs fois gagnante des internationaux des États-Unis et des internationaux de Grande-Bretagne.
Now she's going to receive her trophy from someone you will be very familiar with, Margaret Court, who won here 5 times. And everyone's so happy to see back over here. And there you are, the winner and the runner-up, 1988 women's final of the French Open. Nellie Adamson holding it. They had announced.
First thing I'm gonna say is I'm very sorry that it was so fast, but I like it being here very much, and this is really the Grand Slam I like most, and I like Paris very much, and that's why I really want to play my best tennis. I was very concentrated, but I think I really have to say congratulations to Natalie. She had a great tournament. She won against great players, and congratulations. I hope to come back next year and try to do the same and try to play my best. And not so fast. Sorry, I try.
You will be seeing a lot more of both these young ladies. And I'm sure a lot of it right here on 9's Wide World of Sports. A very disappointed Natalia Zvereva of the Soviet Union. Again, if you'd have talked to her before this tournament started and said, would you be satisfied getting to the finals, I think she would have said, you darn right. And our champion, the #1 seed, the best player in the world, Steffi Graf. Steffi lost 20 games in 7 matches here. That is Philippe Chatrier. And the finalists now come down the steps from the president's box. Hail to the Queen, Steffi Graf.
$250,000 richer this afternoon, Steffi Graf, and by the end of this year, she will probably be over the $1 million mark in 1 year, and fully deserves it.
And of course, Natalia Zvereva wins $125,000 for getting to the finals. So there you have the 1988 women's champion of the French Open, 2 years running now, Steffi Graf, defeating Natalia Zvereva 6-love, 6-love. We're going to take a break, and we'll be coming back shortly with the men's doubles final between Australia's John Fitzgerald and Anders Jarid against Andres Gomez and Emilio Sanchez.